Well, I read this week that Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, that he used to wear the same clothes to work every single day. Maybe not the same exact clothes, but the same, he probably had multiple pairs of the same thing, So he wore the same clothes every day to work. And he did it so he wouldn't have to decide what to wear. You see, he had enough other decisions to make each day that he didn't want that to be one of them. So he just wore the same clothes every day. Now, there are some Gen Zers now who are following his example and doing the same thing, so they don't have to make that decision. But these people are trying to avoid what's called decision fatigue. That's when you make too many decisions, and some of them are urgent, and some of them are important, some of them affect other people, but you make so many decisions that you get worn out. And people like judges and surgeons and even football quarterbacks are especially susceptible to decision fatigue. But when you experience decision fatigue, you may start making rash, impulsive decisions. You don't really think, you just say, okay, just do this. Or you get overwhelmed or exhausted, or you start procrastinating because you just don't want to make any decisions. Basically, your brain locks up or turns to mush, and it's hard to make good decisions. But what about the average person? Did you know the average adult makes about 35,000 decisions a day? I guess if you stopped and thought about everything you think about doing, I'm going to walk, I'm going to put on clothes, I'm going to do this, but about 35,000 decisions a day. That's a lot. And some are significant, like, will I go to work today? Or will I keep my commitment that I made? Some of them are less significant, like what color of socks do I want to wear today? But what we want to consider this morning is this: how do your daily decisions affect your walk with God? How do your daily decisions affect the kingdom God or other people's walk with God? Your decisions can move you one way or the other. And your decisions, they may honor God or they may dishonor God. And so consider those decisions carefully. Today we're going to see a family that is in really sad shape. They make poor decision after poor decision, and they're big ones. But they didn't get into this bad situation overnight. All right? This has been a long time coming. It was a process of making choices through the years. And so maybe we can learn from their story and make better God-honoring decisions. And so the first thing we see is that we need to guard against a wandering heart. We're going to start today in Genesis chapter 26 and verse 34. So the very end of chapter 26. It says, when Esau was 40 years old, he took Judith, the daughter of Beeri the Hittite, to be his wife, and Basemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and they made life bitter for Isaac and Rebekah. And so the passage begins here with this little statement about Esau's marriages. And this statement would seem out of place with the rest of the passage, except that the passage also ends with another little statement about Esau's marriages. And we'll see that there's a point being made here. But first, here at the beginning, we are told that Esau married two Hittite girls. In other words, they were Canaanites. They are part of the ungodly people who God has already said will be judged for their evil. These are the people that Abraham was very careful to avoid having Isaac marry. But now Esau has married two of them. And these wives of Esau make his parents' life bitter. And so they're not happy about it. And this makes sense because they would have a different lifestyle and a different spiritual belief system and different gods. They're different in very important areas of life. In fact, the most important area of life. And we'll come back to this, but for now, we know something's not right. I mean, why would Esau just go off and marry these girls? I mean, but we see that Esau, and we've seen this already, and we'll see it some more, Esau is not a man of faith. He doesn't care about God and the promises or what God wants. And we'll see later, it appears that he doesn't even realize that marrying these Canaanite girls is a problem. So let's keep reading, chapter 27, verse 1. When Isaac was old and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau, his older son, and said to him, "My son." And he answered, "Here I am." He said, "Behold, I am old, and I do not know the day of my death." So he thinks he's going to die pretty soon. Verse 3, "Now then, take your weapons, your quiver and your bow, and go out to the field and hunt game for me, and prepare for me delicious food, such as I love, and bring it to me so that I may eat, that my soul may bless you before I die." And so Isaac is old and his eyesight is really bad, and he's going blind. And this important fact sets the stage for what is going to happen here. But it's also symbolic of his spiritual state. You see, Isaac, he used to exhibit great faith, but now he's growing spiritually blind. He's not following closely after God. In fact, he is choosing to follow his own desires, his appetite, and to go against God. Now, why do I say that? Well, first of all, he knew Esau was not fit to carry on the promise. He was not a spiritual, faithful man. Secondly, Isaac knew that Esau had sold his birthright, and in doing so had treated it as insignificant, like it was no big deal. And he showed that he didn't really care about it. And not only that, but now Isaac is going to bless Esau. He's completely ignoring the oath that Esau had made. He had sworn an oath to Jacob when he sold that birthright. But then most importantly, number 3, he knew what God told Rebekah. He knew that Jacob would be the leader, that Jacob would lead the family, that God told Rebekah the older would serve the younger. But knowing all of this, Isaac refuses to fall in line with God's will. And he makes his own plan. He will bless Esau, his favorite, the one who gives him good food. But not only that, he plans to do this in secret. And he is going to bless only Esau. That's not normal, neither of those things. You see, normally, a father would call all of his sons together, and he would bless each one of them. Their blessings would be different, but he would have a blessing for each one of them. But here, it's secret. Hey, Esau, we're going to do this. He's keeping it a secret. He doesn't want Jacob to know. He doesn't want anyone to know but Esau, because he's going to bless Esau, not Jacob. And he's planning to bless only Esau. Now, why would he do this? Well, he does it for very non-spiritual reasons. He really does it for selfish reasons. It's because Esau's his favorite, and because he loves to eat the food that Esau brings him. This is the big one. In fact, we're told here that he loves Esau's food. And this word love is a very strong word. It's normally used of loving a person, but it always has a passionate tone. And so this is saying he is passionate about Esau's food. And not only that, to emphasize this, the word game, like the animals that are hunted, the word game is repeated 8 times in this passage. And the words delicious food are repeated 6 times in this passage. So this is an issue here. Okay? So Abraham did, this was interesting. You see, Abraham, he did all that he could to make sure that the chosen son, God's choice, received the blessing. He even sent his son Ishmael away. But Isaac is doing all that he can to prevent the chosen son from receiving the blessing. Now, sadly, as time has passed, Isaac has become more and more like his son Esau than like his father Abraham. Isaac is now driven by his appetite rather than faith. His heart has wandered. And we are vulnerable to the same danger. Your choices, your decisions that you make affect the direction of your life. So consider them carefully and guard against a wandering heart. Well, Isaac had a secret plan, but his plan is found out. Look at verse 5. Now Rebekah was listening when Isaac spoke to his son Esau. So when Esau went to the field to hunt for game and bring it, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, I heard your father speak to your brother Esau. Bring me game and prepare for me delicious food that I may eat it and bless you before the Lord before I die. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice as I command you. Okay, so now notice this. There are problems in this family. Okay? Isaac and Rebekah, their marriage is strained. They're not really communicating very well, right? I mean, their marriage is strained. They're not working together, but they're actually working against each other here. The family is divided and dysfunctional. And notice that in verse 5 and 6, Isaac speaks to his son, Esau, and Rebekah speaks to her son, Jacob. Okay? And so Isaac is keeping secrets, and Rebekah is eavesdropping, and there's a lot of deception going on here. Not just Rebekah, but Isaac. He's being secretive for a reason. There's deception going on. There's a lot of deception going on. And Jacob is then put in the middle between his parents. Do what I tell you. That's not what Dad wants. I mean, who will he honor? Verse 9. Rebekah is still speaking to Jacob. She says, go to the flock and bring me 2 good young goats so that I may prepare from them delicious food for your father, such as he loves. And you shall bring it to your father to eat so that he may bless you before he dies. But Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, behold, my brother Esau is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. Perhaps my father will feel me, and I shall seem to be mocking him and bring a curse upon myself and not a blessing. His mother said to him, let your curse be on me, my son. Only obey my voice and go, bring them to me. So he went and took them and brought them to his mother, and his mother prepared delicious food such as his father loved. And so Rebekah, notice here, Rebekah is the instigator here. All right? She's the instigator of this deception. She tells Jacob to obey her command. But that doesn't let Jacob off the hook, all right? He still did wrong, okay? And did you notice that Jacob, he didn't appear to be concerned about if he was doing the right thing or the wrong thing. He was just afraid of getting caught. And so, why would they do this, though? I mean, why would Rebekah tell her son to deceive his father? Well, it's because she believes what God told her, that Jacob is God's chosen son, and the covenant, the blessings continue through him, or will continue through him. But Isaac is about to give this blessing to Esau. And she even adds that Isaac is planning to bless Esau. She adds the words, before the Lord. She adds those words to make sure that Jacob understands what's at stake here. To make sure he understands what's going on here, what this blessing means. And so she is convinced that she's doing the right thing. And she needs to stop Isaac's plan. She's even willing to be cursed herself if it come to that. Let's keep reading verse 15. Then Rebekah took the best garments of Esau, her older son, which were with her in the house, and put them on Jacob, her younger son. And the skins of the young goats she put on his hands and on the smooth part of his neck. And she put the delicious food and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. So he went in to his father and said, my father. And he said, here I am. Who are you, my son? Jacob said to his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you told me. Now sit up and eat of my game, that your soul may be blessed. But Isaac said to his son, how is it that you have found it so quickly, my son? He answered, now catch this. He answered, because the Lord your God granted me success. Did you notice he just brought God into his lie? Then, verse 21, then Isaac said to Jacob, please come near that I may feel you, my son, to know whether you are really my son Esau or not. So Jacob went near to Isaac his father, who felt him, and said, the voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he did not recognize him, because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. They're probably just blessing, like, come on, sit down, let's eat. And he said, are you really my son Esau? He answered, I am. Then he said, bring it near to me that I may eat of my son's game and bless you. So we brought it near to him, and he ate, and he brought him wine, and he drank. Then his father Isaac said to him, come near and kiss me, my son. So he came near and kissed him, and Isaac smelled the smell of his garments and blessed him and said, see, the smell of my son is the smell of the field that the Lord has blessed. So he still wasn't sure till right there. So Rebekah disguises Jacob. He goes in, he takes in the food, and notice that he only says 2 words, my father. It's like maybe if he doesn't say very much, Dad won't notice that I'm not Esau. And so he just goes in, he says 2 words. But Isaac, he knows it's one of his sons, but he doesn't know which one. He says, who are you, my son? He's expecting Esau, but it doesn't sound like Esau. So Jacob lies. Isaac's not convinced. So he feels him and he smells him. And then he says, okay, I guess it's him. And then he blesses him. Look at verse 28. He says, may God give you the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth and plenty of grain and wine. Let people serve you and nations bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers, and may your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be everyone who curses you, and blessed be everyone who blesses you. And so this blessing says that Jacob, he will have success, and that the land will produce well for him, and he will be strong, and he will have dominion over other nations. And this looks ahead to the nation of Israel in the future. And he will be the leader over all his family. And he inherits the blessings given to Abraham. And so that all who bless him will be blessed, and all who curse him will be cursed. Remember, God told Abraham that. And so the deception was a success. But was it the right thing to do? Now, before I answer that, at this point, people always ask, well, how would God have worked it out if Rebekah and Jacob didn't step in and do this? And my answer is, I don't know, but he would have. You see, maybe Rebekah could have gone in and talked to her husband and reminded him, this is what God said, we should do the right thing. And God could use that conversation to turn things around. Or God has spoken directly to Isaac before. And God could speak to Isaac even when Esau was standing right in front of him and say, Isaac, stop. I remember God doing that to Abraham when he was about to sacrifice his son. But God could have done whatever he wanted to. God could have figured it out. But you know what? It doesn't matter how God would have done it. God would have worked it out. But she thinks that she needs to step in and help rescue God's plan. And so back to the question, was this the right thing to do? Was it right to deceive? The answer is no. Rebekah's reason for doing it, her motivation for doing it was right, but her method was wrong. She sins. The end doesn't justify the means. Sin is sin, lies are lies. Even if you think of it, you have a very good reason. Even if you don't see how God will work things out otherwise. If you have to sin to get there, it's wrong. You can't honor God by disobeying him. The end doesn't justify the means. Well, the story's not over here. Joseph gets out of there just in time. Verse 30. As soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, when Jacob had scarcely gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, Esau, his brother, came in from his hunting. He also prepared delicious food and brought it to his father. And he said to his father, "Let my father arise and eat of his son's game, that you may bless me." His father Isaac said to him, "Who are you?" He answered, "I am your son, your firstborn, Esau." Then Isaac trembled very violently and said, "Who was it then that hunted game and brought it to me, and I ate it before you came, and I have blessed him? Yes, and he shall be blessed." As soon as Esau heard the words of his father, he cried out with an exceedingly great and bitter cry, and said to his father, "Bless me, even me also, O my father." But he said, "Your brother came deceitfully, and he has taken away your blessing." Esau said, "Is he not rightly named Jacob? For he has cheated me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he has taken away my blessing." Then he said, "Have you not reserved a blessing for me?" Isaac answered and said to Esau, "Behold, I have made him lord over you and all his brothers, and I have given to him for servants and given to him, and all his brothers I have given to him for servants, and with grain and wine I have sustained him. What then can I do for you, my son?" Esau said to his father, "Have you but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father." And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Then Isaac his father answered and said to him, "Behold, away from the fatness of the earth shall your dwelling be, and away from the dew of heaven on high. By your sword you shall live, and you shall serve your brother. But when you grow restless, you shall break his yoke from your neck. So when Esau shows up, Isaac has no idea who he is. He doesn't even say, who is it? Or who are you, my son? He just says, who are you? He's not only blind, but he lacks discernment. He was very unsure about who Jacob was. But he went ahead and blessed him anyway. And now Esau comes in and he's completely confused. Isaac's completely confused. He's like, but who, what happened? But he figures it out. He's figured out that it was Jacob. I mean, he knew it sounded like Jacob, but he was tricked. And notice his reaction when he realizes this. It says he trembled violently. This literally is, he trembled a great trembling to abundance. All right? So that's a pile of words. In other words, he is really upset and he is shaking. And he tells Esau that he already gave the blessing away. And then he adds these words, and yes, he will be blessed. He's saying that he can't take the blessing back. This blessing is irrevocable. You see, these blessings, when they were spoken as a vow before God. And they were calling on God to do what was said in the blessing. So he can't take it back. It's a done deal. And manly Esau cries and begs his dad to bless him too. It's understandable. But he cries and he begs his dad to bless him too. You see, now Esau has an interest in blessing. He has no interest in the life of faith or of the covenant, but he wants a blessing. He wants the benefits without obedience. But he asks, don't you have anything reserved for me? I mean, Esau, he should expect something. I mean, should expect that his dad would have a blessing for all of his sons. But there's nothing left. He gave it all to Jacob. You see, Isaac's plan backfired. He was going to cheat Jacob out of any blessing. And now Esau is left without any blessing. And so Isaac says a few words, and he gives Esau really an anti-blessing. In fact, it sounds a lot like the curse that was given to Cain. He won't have the best of the land. And he'll be a wanderer. And he'll have to fight to survive. He's going to live by the sword. But then there's this one positive at the end. A little bit of hope in the last statement. Eventually, he will free himself from servitude to his brother. Now, this was fulfilled in 2 Kings chapter 8. At a time when the king of Judah was being unfaithful to God, and the Edomites, the descendants of Esau, revolted against Judah and liberated themselves or gained their independence from Judah. But Isaac and Esau here are besides themselves. I mean, they had a plan. How did this happen? Well, the ultimate answer to that question is that God's plan can't be thwarted. But Esau, he just sees what's happened and he blames it all on Jacob, the deceiver. It's true, Jacob was there. He was a deceiver. And Jacob has cheated him twice now. It's true, but the thing is Esau is also partially to blame here. But no, it's all Jacob's fault. But if you think about it, you could also blame Isaac. I mean, he's the one who didn't listen to God. He's the one who arranged this secret meeting, and he is the one who decided to give everything to one son. Or you could blame Rebekah. I mean, she's the one who went against her husband, and she's the one who planned this deception, and she's the one who told Jacob to do it. The thing is none of them are right here. None of them come out looking good. They're all in the wrong. And there's enough blame to go around here. But they still all want to blame other people. But isn't this what we do too? It can't be my fault. I mean, I didn't do anything wrong, or I didn't do anything that bad. Can't be my fault. And so I blame someone else. And I excuse myself. But this is the way of humanity. And it has been the way of humanity ever since, go all the way back, Adam and Eve. Well, the woman you gave me, she gave it to. Well, the serpent, he. This is what we do. We've all done it. But what does God tell us to do? In his word, he tells us to lay down our pride and to confess our sin. Don't play the blame game. Well, now, even though Jacob and Rebekah got what they wanted, they still suffer the consequences of their sin. Chapter 27, verse 41. Now Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing with which his father had blessed him. And Esau said to himself, the days of mourning for my father are approaching. Then I will kill my brother Jacob. But the words of Esau, her older son, were told to Rebekah. So she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said to him, behold, your brother Esau comforts himself about you by planning to kill you. Now, therefore, my son, obey my voice. Arise, flee to Laban, my brother, in Haran, and stay with him a while until your brother's fury turns away, until your brother's anger turns away from you, and he forgets what you have done to him. That just sounds so ironic, what you have done to him. She should have said what we have done to him, maybe? Anyway, then, she says, then I will send and bring you from there. Why should I be bereft of you both in one day? Then Rebekah said to Isaac, I loathe my life because of the Hittite women. If Jacob marries one of the Hittite women like these, one of the women of the land, what good will my life be to me? Then Isaac called, chapter 28, verse 1, then Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and directed him, you must not take a wife from the Canaanite women. Arise, go to Paddan Aram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take as your wife from there one of the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. God Almighty bless you and make you fruitful and multiply you, that you may become a company of peoples. May he give the blessing of Abraham to you and to your offspring with you, and that you may take possession of the land of your sojournings that God gave to Abraham. Thus Isaac sent Jacob away, and he went to Paddan Aram to Laban, the son of Bethuel, the Aramean, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob and Esau's mother. So Esau wants to kill his brother. He again reminds us of Cain. But he decides that he'll wait till their dad dies. Again, he expects that to happen pretty soon, but he says, as soon as dad's gone, I'm going to kill him. But Rebekah finds out about Esau's plan to murder his brother and is afraid of losing both of her sons. Why both of her sons? Because if Esau kills Jacob, well, then Jacob's dead. But not only is he dead, Esau would then be put to death for murder. So she would lose both of her sons. And she doesn't want that, so she hatches another deceptive plan. And I think it just keeps going. I mean, why didn't she just go in and talk? But it just keeps going. But there's one thing that she and Isaac see eye to eye on. They don't like Esau's wives. And they don't want Jacob to marry a Canaanite woman. And so she goes to Isaac, and she gets Isaac to send Jacob away to her relatives to find a wife. And this will get him away from Esau till he calms down. So Isaac blesses him, Jacob again, and this time the wording sounds a lot like the Abrahamic blessing, Abraham's blessing. And he mentions the land, and he mentions many descendants, and he appears to be, Isaac at this time appears to be resigned that Jacob will lead, that it will pass through him. And then he sends Jacob away on his trip. Now, sadly, Rebekah and her son Jacob will never see each other again. Because he leaves and he won't come back for several years. She said, just go for a little while and then I'll send for you. Never happens. But all of this came about because of their sinful choices. And now this sad story comes to a sad ending. Look at verse 6 through 9. Chapter 28, verse 6. Now Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Paddan Aram to take a wife from there, and that as he blessed him, he directed him, you must not take a wife from the Canaanite women. And that Jacob had obeyed his father and his mother and gone to Paddan Aram. So when Esau saw that the Canaanite women did not please Isaac, his father, Esau went to Ishmael and took as his wife, besides the wives he had, Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebaioth. And so the thing is Esau has spent his life trying to gain his father's approval. But Esau doesn't live by faith. And he doesn't understand that his family has different expectations and that his family has different ways of living than the people around them. And it appears that he only now, when they send Jacob away to marry someone other than a Canaanite, only now does he realize that his Canaanite wives were a problem for his parents. They didn't want Jacob to marry a Canaanite, but they wanted him to go and marry an extended relative. So what does Esau do? He goes to an extended relative. He in an effort to gain their favor, he gets another wife from an extended relative. But it's the daughter of Ishmael. And Ishmael was the non-chosen son. Esau just doesn't get it. But we see here that Esau feels disconnected. He feels alienated. But he doesn't realize that what he's missing is faith in God. Do you ever feel disconnected? Is something missing in your life? The answer isn't to go make some rash decision and grab a hold of temporary things that won't last, that seem to bring comfort. The answer is God. You were created to have a relationship with God. When we believe in Jesus, we are made children of God. And so we belong. And when you draw near to God, you know what God's word says? He draws near to you. If you feel disconnected, go to God. There's no better decision you can make. He loves you. He's there for you. And he is a good Father. We make decisions every day, but the most important decisions we make are the ones that move us either toward God or away from God. So consider your decisions carefully. Guard against choices that will allow your heart to wander from God. And choose to do what's right. Don't justify doing wrong just because you think it will turn out better. If you know what God wants, then do that. You can't honor God by disobeying Him. But when you make the wrong choice, when you sin, recognize it and confess it without blaming someone else. Just recognize it and confess it without making excuses. Confess it and move on and live for God. And yet remember that your choices have consequences, whether that's good or bad. Good consequences because you made the good choice, or bad consequences because you made a bad choice. Our choices have consequences. We make decisions every day. Consider your decisions carefully and choose to live to honor God.